Okay, we are streaming. So again, the millions of people out there will be watching us. Okay, we're going to start with Senate Bill 1005 from the Prince George's County Senators, and Senator Watson is going to present. And I'm going to call up our former colleague Daryl Barnes here. Daryl. I've got Crystal Oriata from Prince. She's virtual, okay. I've got former Senator Rich Madalino here on this sponsor panel. And I know County Executive Brayboy, I'm not sure if she's going to be virtual or in person. If she is in person, if she doesn't get here in time, I think my view would be is whenever she gets here, we'll let her testify.
Yes, sir. All right.
Okay, former County Executive Baker is already virtual, and we'll either way we'll get County Executive Brayboy to testify whenever she shows up virtually or in person. Okay, let's see who else we got. Okay, I think that's the extent of the panel. Senator Watson, is there anybody else? Again, we've got Rashawn Baker and Aisha Brayboy in the queue in some way, shape, or form.
All right, I think this may
be. Senator Watson, we're on Senate Bill 1005, so you take the time you need to present the bill.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, Chair Feldman, good afternoon. Senator Ron Watson, representing the 23rd Legislative District, here to present Senate Bill 1005 on behalf of the Prince George's County Senate delegation. Colleagues, we had a problem back in the 1920s. Washington, D.C. was expanding rapidly into the Maryland suburbs. There was uncontrolled suburban growth, and in 2027, the solution was for Maryland to create the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning to enable long-range regional planning and coordinate park system across the county lines. What this bill does, it keeps the 99-year bi-county commission together, but streamlines general counsel, IT, human resources, and procurement into the respective county planning boards that use the services. It gives more autonomy to both county planning boards. Why are we doing this? Basic administrative functions should be as close as possible to the programs they support so they can work quickly and efficiently, saving time and increasing community responsiveness. This allows Prince George's County to utilize our taxpayer dollars in ways that are better for our county and allows Montgomery County the ability to prioritize where they want as well. Why are we doing this now? We have a number of major and unique economic development projects that are in the pipeline right now, many of which, like Sphere, which the state has chosen to invest in, where we hope to have shovels in the ground before the end of the year. And having the ability to separate these core functions gives Prince George's County Planning Board the ability to be more efficient and more responsive at an extremely critical time in this process. Mr. Chair, at this time, I'll turn it over to the panel.
Hey, Rich, you want to start? Or Daryl? Either way.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Rich Madalino, and I am the Chief Administrative Officer for the Montgomery County Government. Today, I'm representing County Executive Mark Elrich, who is on his way back from a trade mission in India, here to express the County Executive's strong support for this legislation. Mr. Chairman, as you heard from Senator Watson, the Park and Planning Commission has been around for a century. It was created in state law in order to help guide development in Montgomery and Prince George's County at a time when there were roughly 50,000 residents of Montgomery County and 60,000 residents of Prince George's County, when there was one senator from Montgomery County and one senator from Prince George's County, when there were 4 delegates from Montgomery County and 6 delegates from Prince George's County, when there were 3 county commissioners in Montgomery, 3 county commissioners in Prince George's. A very different time. In fact, at a time when the state senator from Montgomery County was the de facto county executive. For those of you who have been around for a while in the Senate and knew, why did you have to fill out notary public forms? Why did you approve notary public forms? Because the state senator was the county executive. At the time in their 1920s, the developers occupied the Senate seats. Senator Lee, part of the Lee family, the old Blair Lee III, if some of you remember him as lieutenant governor, one of his ancestors was a longtime state senator. They decided to put together this Park and Planning Commission so that they could control development that was occurring as the city was expanding out of the District of Columbia, where the National Capital Park and Planning Commission was guiding development. So they came up with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission and put it in state law in order to guide development. It has worked remarkably well over the decades to foster amazing communities in both jurisdictions. But right now, when we look around at our competition, regionally, nationally, when they can deliver projects and approvals in a very fast manner, the county executive believes now is the time for change to occur. This is in essence a four-party marriage with the county councils and the county executives of the two council. You will hear today from three of those four parties that they want a change to occur. Prince George's County and Montgomery County both have unique economic challenges and opportunities. I know from talking to the county executive's office in Prince George's County with projects like the Sphere, the Blue Line Corridor, what's happening with the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center, what's happening with the closed Six Flags. There are incredible opportunities for Prince George's to grow. There are incredible opportunities for Montgomery County to grow. And the county executive Elrich, I think joining with the county executive Brave Boy, feels that the current arrangement does not make it possible for growth to occur in a quick and orderly fashion, and that this is a way that we can improve it. And quite frankly, Mr. Chair, the idea is this uniquely sits in state law. And the critical role that Montgomery, as the largest jurisdiction in the state, and Prince George's as the second largest jurisdiction in the state, what they play for the state economy, it needs the state to take action to make sure we can start moving forward with a fast and orderly process to get development done. The county executive Elrich greatly appreciates the proposal that has come out of Prince George's County to make these changes as a first step to making it better for development to occur in Prince George's County and for us to do the same thing in Montgomery County, which is why after a century, it is now important for the General Assembly to embrace change and the need to make changes in this structure in order for these unique statewide opportunities to move forward. And that's why County Executive Elrich would respectfully ask your favorable consideration of this bill, recognizing that it's come late in the process. It's still important for you to think about and get done right now because of the amazing opportunities that are before us in both Montgomery and Prince George's counties. So I greatly appreciate your opportunity to let me testify, and I look forward to also being on the panel with former County Executive Rushern Baker.
Okay, let's go to former Delegate Barnes. Welcome, Daryl. You're here as part of the panel and support, so you can start.
Well, let me first start off by saying greetings to you, Senator Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan. It's good to see you as well, and other members of the Senate committee, especially my good friend Ben. For the record, I am former Delegate Daryl Barnes, former Chairman of the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus and the Chairman of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. As Chairman of Prince George's County Planning Board and the Commission, I am charged with leading an agency of more than 7,000 employees to meet the mission to deliver efficient and effective planning, parks, and recreation services to residents of Prince George's County and Montgomery County. In order to reach this goal, it requires exploring new approaches or realigning our business operation and organizational structures established nearly 100 years ago. Since 1927, the Commission has delivered extraordinary and enduring value to residents in both Montgomery County and Prince George's counties. This work has been delivered by the dedicated staff who are proud public servants. This bill does not impact the current employees or retirees. I often reflect on the song by Sam Cooke, "A Change is Going to Come." In order for us to move forward as a unified agency, change must happen now. Continue to do the same thing over and over again for the last 100 years, in some cases, stalls meaningful progress. Prior to my appointment, the previous chairs of the commission, Peter Shapiro from Prince George's County and Artie Harris of Montgomery County, had laid the groundwork. They were already working with outside consultants on realigning, restructuring, and decentralizing the departments within the central administrative services. Through that work, it was to eliminate the duplication of workflow, and to empower the department heads to make them more accountable. Since I assumed the obligation to lead the Bi-County agency 8 months ago, I have observed challenges in the current structure that contributes to the delays in the 4 departments: HR, IT, legal, and procurement. This bill, as written, does not break up the commission or speak to the split of the commission. This is a realignment of 4 centralized departments to strengthen the commission. We must evolve to serve the needs of our growing communities, adapt to the demands of modern business practices, and scale to compete in this innovative and ever-changing region. With that, I ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 1005. Again, I am the chairman of the Prince George's County Planning Board and the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and I thank you for your time. But more importantly, I ask for your vote.
Okay, before we go to Rashawn Baker, why don't we take question in the virtual? I think we've got some other virtual. Let's just take questions here for Rich Madalino, Darrell Barnes. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, gentlemen, for testifying. Let's go to our former county executive from Prince George's, Rashawn Baker, next. Rashawn, welcome to the committee. And you're here as part of the panel. And this particular panel we won't clock, and then I'll extend the same courtesy to the lead panel on the opponent's side. But okay, Rashawn, why don't you, you're here on behalf of, on the sponsor panel, signed up favorable. So why don't you start?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I hope you all can hear me. I am very sorry I'm not down there with you, and my best to the Vice Chair too. Thank you for hearing, and glad to be a part of this panel. One of the things I think Rich and Chairman Barnes have said, a lot of the issues that are going on. It is probably not surprising to me, at least, having been county executive, understanding why every county executive has put some type of bill in dealing with park and planning and its relationship. As somebody who tried, and I had a great working relationship with the legislature, but also with my former dean and professor, Ike Leggett, who was county executive at the same time I was. And he did everything to support the efforts that we tried to do as we were building MGM, moving our hospital and other things. But what we both discovered is that as both Rich and Chair Barnes have said, is that in the development process, being able to streamline the process, but also being able to control it. Prince George's County, as has been said, is the second largest jurisdiction. I used to joke with my former professor, Ike Leggett, that Prince George's County is the economic engine of the Washington region, and I dare say the state. So I think County Executive Brayboy is following in the tradition that we all have, that we want to make sure the employees in park and planning are well taken care of, but also at the same time in a competitive region that we have the tools necessary to streamline and to move development forward. I think this legislation will help. We need to make sure that all of our employees, and I know that's the case with Chair Barnes and County Executive Elrich, that they want to make sure that happens. But we need to have a change in how we do this. And so that is why I hope the committee will look favorable upon this bill. And I look forward to answering any questions if you have them. Thanks for allowing me to testify in this manner.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions for Rashern Baker? Okay, Rashern, thank you for the testimony.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have one additional virtual witness on the sponsor panel, and I'm going to call, we're going to get in the queue here, Crystal Ariata from the Prince George's. Oh, okay, we do have the County Executive Brayboy. Let's go to my former committee mate in the House Economic Matters Committee, County Executive Brayboy. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you can start whenever you're ready, okay?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfectly good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I do apologize for not being there with you. Today is the 40th annual Women's History Month luncheon in Prince George's County, so I had to play host duties. But for the record, I'm County Executive Aisha Brayboy. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee. I appreciate all of you taking time to hear this very important bill, one that both myself and County Executive Mark Elrich fully support, and we sent a joint letter to that effect. Today, we have a fresh bill on this matter of park and planning for your consideration. We know that there have been other bills in the past, but this bill is very different. This bill really simply does one thing. It gives each of our counties more autonomy, a greater ability to make decisions that will affect our respective jurisdictions and hold those individuals accountable to our respective jurisdictions who we appoint and who we ask to serve us in the way in which we ask, or in the way in which our constituents need. We can all agree that our counties are very different than they were 99 years ago when park and planning was actually developed. So it was commissioned back in 1927. At that time, both counties had about 30,000 residents and were both pretty rural. Today, Montgomery County is the largest county in the state of Maryland. Prince George's County, the second largest, both with over 1 million, although I think Montgomery County has a little bit more than we do, but that's okay. We have grown, but we have grown differently, and our needs are very different. The Park and Planning Commission is empowered to acquire, develop, and maintain and administer a regional park system in 2 counties. For Prince George's County, it also administers our recreation system, and that's something that's very different. Also, our counties, as they have developed, have two completely different zoning codes that the commission has to interpret in order for development to occur in our counties. And so it is, again, a very different county and a very different system. The amount that we contribute to park and planning varies substantially. For example, in FY26, in Prince George's County, we contributed $493 million to park and planning, while Montgomery County provided $224 million. Again, because the commissions grew differently, and Prince George's County has the park and rec functions, we are contributing more. And so the needs and the accountability concerns are greater in Prince George's County. And so SB 1005 does not disband or end the bi-county commission. However, it does provide that certain administrative functions would be moved closer to the people who need them. IT, human resources, legal, procurement, and there's an amendment for procurement to be added. These are basic functions and basic tools of the respective planning boards, and they need to have more authority over those functions. And so we're just asking, again, really for an amicable separation. Both myself and Mark Elrich, we appreciate having a bi-county commission with limited functions, but for the most part, Prince George's County has different procurement goals than Montgomery County. Prince George's County has different hiring requirements or hiring goals than Montgomery County, and that's okay. We're two different counties. And so this commission, we believe, should be separate in many of the functions, separate so that those goals that our respective jurisdictions have can be realized through the commission as well. So I look forward to answering any questions you might have. Again, this just gives each county a little bit more autonomy. It doesn't get rid of the commission altogether. It will, of course, shrink the central office because we wouldn't need as many people in the central office, but it does not disband altogether park and planning. It just puts a little bit more power, authority, and control in the hands of the planning boards, people that have been vetted in our communities and who our communities are expecting are doing their will. And so that's all I have to say on it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I want to say thank you to my predecessors who understand the importance of this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, County Executive Brayboy. We'll take questions. Senator Watson, you have a question for the County Executive?
Thank you, County Executive Brayboy. Is it true that the arrangement between Montgomery County and Prince George's County is the only such arrangement in the entire country?
That's my understanding, correct.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, additional questions for the County Executive? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Thank you, Madam County Executive, for your testimony. Is Crystal on the, okay. Okay, we had one other additional virtual witness who doesn't appear to be in the queue. Okay, I'm going to call up one more panel of favorables, and this panel, y'all are going to be on the up to 2-minute clock. And so, is James Hunt here? Mr. Hunt? Okay, come on up, Mr. Hunt. Darius Stanton? Manuel Geraldo? Mr. Geraldo here? Yes, sir, come on up. Okay, that'll be the extent of the favorable testimony. So each of you will be on the up to 2-minute clock. And, okay, whoever wants to start? Anybody? You go first. Okay, sir? Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, Chair Feldman.
Okay, why don't you first of all put that mic a little closer to you.
Sorry.
And tell us your name and you can start.
You know, they gave me, Maryland National gave me a coffee cup, and it says, Manuel, you're on mute. So I appreciate being here. My name is Manuel Geraldo, and I serve on as a commissioner on Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. And I'm testifying today specifically on Senate Bill 1005. I wanted to note as well that the Prince George's County Planning Board has in fact voted to support this bill. The legislation grants greater autonomy to each county's planning board, allowing the chair to establish independent procurement, information technology, human resources, and legal, Office of General Counsel functions. This measure responds to longstanding concerns within the planning management that the current centralized processes, particularly in hiring, are too time-consuming and cumbersome. As a matter of fact, in talking to some of the planning management, they've told me that they've lost candidates, good candidates for jobs, because it takes 4 to 6 months to onboard somebody. Last year, the current chair of Montgomery County and the former chair of Prince George's County had retained ADC Management Solutions for a proposal on developing a design and implementation roadmap for decentralizing CAS structure with the objective of empowering department heads and eliminating unnecessary bottlenecks by slimming down central administrative service. This bill is simply a realignment of what was contained in the proposal for the consultant. Now, supporting the bill was not an easy decision for me, given the storied, rich history and structure of Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. My concerns on the bill were centered on making sure retirees and merit employees are protected. I consider our employees and our retirees as being the most valued assets of the commission. CAS will remain responsible. That said, I do have a critical concern regarding clarity in the bill's language, specifically in section 16-201A21.
If you could just succinctly get.
I will.
Okay.
So that bill, what it does is the bill does not lack clarity. When they do the Office of the General Counsel, what happens to the attorneys that are presently protected by merit protections that they had been given? And now with the new bill, it's not clear if the new employees are the ones that will come under, and whether the other older employees will be under the merit.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let's go to the next witness.
All right, greetings, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. For the record, I'm James Hunt. I'm Acting Planning Director with the Prince George's Planning Department. I would like to offer a measured perspective in Senate Bill 1005. While we continue to evaluate the full implications of the bill, including requirements of implementation, we do see elements that move in a positive direction, particularly in the intent to provide greater flexibility and responsiveness if authority is given to the planning board. Operationally, our experience reflects challenges the bill aims to address. In procurement, we have seen a delay with even routine contracts, slowing down delivery and limiting our ability to respond to emerging priorities. We also have seen contractor payments exceed over 30 days after services were rendered due to return or required coordination with the procurement office. And human resources, the shared system promotes consistency but can slow approvals and hiring. In a competitive market for planners and technical professionals, delays in posting, processing, and onboarding can hinder staffing and delivery of critical initiatives for the commission. Decentralization could allow departments to adopt tools, automated tracking, stronger analytics, and workforce solutions to improve efficiency and reduce administrative burden. This Senate bill recognizes that a one-size-fits-all approach may not serve every county. More localized decision-making could reduce delays and better align operations on the ground priorities. At the same time, we believe it is important to maintain strong collaboration, clear standards, and the merit-based principles that underpin our workforce at the Prince George's Planning Department. In closing, I'm supporting of the direction of this bill, provided it's not as a starting point for disbanding the commission, continues to uphold merit system protections for existing employees, safeguards retirement systems and benefit systems, and ensures that all fiduciary, financial, and budgetary responsibilities are met in a stable and independent manner, free from external influence.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, let's go to, tell us who you are.
Peace and love. Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Darius A. Stanton. I'm the Director of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Prince George's County, Department of Parks and Recreation. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I support Senate Bill 1005 and the need with regard to the amendment of adding procurement to this reform. I also want to say clearly that this commission should remain strong and intact as the great bi-county institution it has been for nearly 100 years. That history matters. This great institution we are working to make exceptional. It has served both Prince George's County and Montgomery County for generations. It has protected parks, advanced planning, preserved public assets, built public trust across county lines. So the goal should be to strengthen the commission, which is a system. Systems need to adapt to new environments. The goal should be to make it more effective and more accountable, more responsible to the counties it serves. That is the right reform principle. Some of the most important bi-county functions should remain intact. The pension and retirement system should remain intact. Finance should remain intact. The Office of Inspector General should remain intact. It is already structured to provide oversight across both counties and central administrative services. And it is hired through an outside committee, not controlled by either planning board. That independence matters. It helps protect the public against fraud, waste, and abuse wherever they may arise in the system. Those are examples of the kind of central functions that still make sense, as well as high-level centralized functions to coordinate throughout the county. We have made several significant moves to increase our financial capability, strengthening our budget system, managing processes to create a dynamic where we have the instance to manage our processes day by day. These are concrete efficiencies with the new audit and finance division inside of the organization. So the simple truth is, as I close, this 99-year-old institution is a wonderful one. It also should be reformed, and it also should be considerate to make sure that where we have the legal capabilities, if you add 2 OGCs, then you have more general counsel, more legal advice. Even if you add 3, when you have a more than $3 billion organization to run, it does not make sense to just have limited general counsel to support one side or the other. We need general counsel that supports both. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions for the 3 witnesses at the table? Okay, seeing none, thank you all for the testimony. We're going to go back. We did Crystal Ariata from Prince George's County Council is now in the queue, so we're going to go back and get her. Okay, there you are. Okay, Ms. Ariata, we're going to have to put you on the 2-minute clock at this point, but why don't you weigh in? You're on the part of the panel and favorable. Okay? You hear me?
Thank you so much. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time, Chair, members of this committee. I'm Councilwoman Crystal Orietha. I chair the Prince George's County Council, and I'm here in support of this legislation, wanting to echo the comments of my county executive. You know, we have needs here in Prince George's County that are different than Montgomery County. We know that when it comes to supporting Black and minority businesses, having our rec department attached to park and planning, that's not the same in Montgomery County. So our ability to move faster, our ability to prioritize the things that are important to the residents of Prince George's County, this is what this legislation is about. We also have development, first of its kind, on the way in Prince George's County. When we look at what's happening with the Blue Line Corridor, Six Flags, the stadium, there's a need for us to be able to move in a direction swiftly with a direction that makes sense for Prince George's County. And I feel like this legislation gives us the flexibility that we need. It allows us to prioritize the things that are important to us. And we still want to and will continue to collaborate with Montgomery County where it makes sense. But Montgomery County already has functions of their parking plan, like their recreation, that is separate, and they have flexibility. And so from an equity standpoint, we think it is important that Prince George's County has the same flexibility so that we can ensure the development that we want to see is moving swiftly and that we're prioritizing the things that are important to us. And so I hope that the committee can vote in favor today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the witness? Okay, seeing none. Again, thank you for your testimony. Now we're going to move to unfavorables. I'm going to start with a panel. I'm going to bring up, when you hear your name, okay, Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, President of Montgomery Council, Mitty Figueredo, also from Montgomery. We've got Artie Harris. We've got Darren Flush and Jason Sartori. Okay, that's going to be the lead panel of on the unfavorable side of things. Who would like to lead off? Okay, Mr. Harris, why don't you start? And again, like I did with the first panel, you guys won't be clocked, but everybody after this will be on the 2-minute. Okay, so Mr. Harris.
Thank you so much. Chair Feldman and members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Artie Harris, Chair of the Montgomery County Planning Board and current Vice Chair of the Commission. I'm here today in strong opposition to this bill. As a leader of the commission, my responsibilities are to the residents and taxpayers of the Bi-County region and our staff who work tirelessly to create and manage nationally recognized park systems and award-winning planning departments. There are 7,100 reasons why this bill is not a good one. They are the staff and retirees who depend on our commission to operate as a unified commission. This bill will create irreparable harm to our staff and our pension system. It destabilizes the glue that holds our agency together by dismantling key central administrative functions that support both counties effectively and efficiency. Although every detailed outcome of this bill is not known, we know that it will mean duplication of many functions under one roof, leading to conflict and unnecessary additional costs. Joining our opposition to this bill are many voices, former Prince George's and Montgomery County Planning Board members, including several chairs of the full commission, the Montgomery County Council, union representatives, and more. all recognizing the benefit of an independent and professional parks and planning organization to protect and promote our region. Supporters of this bill have argued that they don't want to be slowed down by bi-county functions like legal or the HR department, eliminating the general counsel and avoiding a legal review or equitable hiring practices because they feel like obstacles is not good governance. Good governance is strong, centralized administrative functions where costs can be shared, policies can be standardized, and jobs can be free of political pressure. I want to address something said earlier. Last year, as chair, we started a study to identify opportunities for efficiencies ahead of our executive director search. It is my role to evaluate this organization. The study was paused as we onboarded the new chair and his staff, but initial conversations supported further centralization. Any efforts to say I supported decentralization is false and a mischaracterization. I urge you to vote no on this bill. Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Who wants to go next? Mitty? Okay.
I'll go next. Mitty Figueredo, I'm the director of Montgomery Parks. I'm here to ask you to reject this bill in its entirety. The idea of hastily restructuring a nationally recognized award-winning agency is just incomprehensible to me. I don't even know what we're fixing. I can tell you duplicating is not streamlining. I've also heard this morning conflicting things. I've heard we're going to remain a bi-county commission, but I've heard we need an amicable separation. I don't know what we're doing here. I want to just give you a second to so I can describe the scope and scale of the work that we do at Montgomery Parks. We serve more than 1 million Montgomery County residents. We have 37,000 acres of parkland, over 400 parks, 600 miles of streams. Just over 11% of Montgomery County is parkland, and protecting this land for the benefit of our residents is our core mission. More than 800 dedicated employees work to deliver a park system that residents have ranked as one of the most important and the most well-managed local government service. This only happens because of the well-coordinated operations happening behind the scenes by our park staff and central administrative services. We manage a $300 million capital budget and a $100 million operating budget appropriated to us by the Montgomery County Council, and every year we issue millions of dollars of park bonds backed by the full faith and credit of the Commission with a AAA bond rating. The disruption of our organizational structure would create ripple effects across our planning, maintenance, project delivery, and programs. It creates anxiety for thousands of employees and retirees who rely on the Commission for their livelihood and their careers, and it will cost taxpayers. We know from the chaos in the federal government what happens when you disrupt and dismantle government agencies without thinking about it carefully. One organization cannot have two general counsels. If there are other internal organizational issues for us to resolve, we can work them out together as a commission. We don't need this legislation. Please do not move forward with it. Thank you.
Okay, who wants to go next?
Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee, good afternoon. I am the commission for the entire 99 years of our existence, but I can tell you that we have changed over time, just as our counties have. Let me be clear. This hastily prepared bill would create uncertainty, cause confusion, and undermine the foundation of regional planning in our counties. This highly consequential bill would have major fiscal impacts on each county. We are in the middle of a very difficult budget process right now. Our departments are being asked to make cuts, yet this ill-conceived bill would require new staff, new systems, and new administrative responsibilities that were never budgeted for. Suggestions that this reckless bill is necessary to address delays in the development review process are simply untrue and unfounded. In fact, under our current structure, we have worked in Montgomery County aggressively with our partners and our county council to streamline our process and procedures. Similarly, it's been suggested that somehow our central administrative services pose an obstacle to advancing a tax increment financing or TIF program. In Montgomery County, we just approved our first ever TIF for the White Oak area, not far from the Prince George's border. Our involvement in that process has been praised for our efficiency and the value that we brought to the discussion to ensure adequate infrastructure was accounted for in the effort. To the extent that our central legal team was involved in that, it was to ensure that we legally and efficiently navigated the process consistent with state and local laws, something that all stakeholders deserve and should appreciate. Look, if there are operational issues that we need to update, I urge supporters of this unnecessary bill to just talk to us. We don't need to dismantle the independent shared services that exist to provide consistency, efficiency, transparency, and protection from political influence. Lastly, this late filed bill will pull our time, focus, and resources away from long-range planning, housing production, infrastructure, economic development, park planning, climate resilience, all the things that we should be paying attention to right now. So I join our county council, our planning board, and 18 former commissioners from both Montgomery and Prince George's counties in urging the committee to vote no on this ill-advised bill. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, why don't you pass that mic down?
I'll end.
Thank you. I think I have this down to 2 minutes, so if anybody wants to time me at home, they're free to do that. My name is Darren Flouchet. I am the Deputy Director for Administration for Montgomery Parks. I oversee divisions that work closely with our central administrative services. The Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission has been recognized a record 6 times with the National Gold Medal Award for Excellence in Parks and Recreation Management. That is for the commission as a whole, not Montgomery County alone, not Prince George's County alone. Our success is rooted in a model that balances local independence with shared efficiencies. We operate shared IT, accounting, HR, time card systems, and that allows seamless coordination and reduces costs because of economies of scale. Because the commission is an independent bi-county agency, parkland is preserved as parkland, insulated from competing pressures that can arise within broader county government budgets and priorities. This independence has protected open space for generations. Weakening that structure puts our environmental resources at risk. SB 1005 introduces significant uncertainty into this successful model in 3 ways. 1, cost. Our shared functions cannot be simply divided. High-cost leadership roles in legal, IT, HR, and finance would need to be duplicated with new positions. 2, operations. Separating shared systems would be very disruptive. We could face delays in hiring, interruptions in payroll and timekeeping systems, and challenges maintaining data integrity. And 3, trust. Our bond rating agencies rely on us to be a trustworthy, well-managed, independent commission with an independent general counsel. Our residents consistently tell us they choose Montgomery County because of our parks, and the department polls as the best-run agency in the county. Please preserve this hard-earned trust by rejecting SB 1005.
Okay, thank you. Plan cleanup, President of our council, President Fanny Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me today. Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. I am the president of the Montgomery County Council. Thank you for having me today. We have a council session right now in Rockville, but I decided to come here in person because this bill is honestly outrageous. And I couldn't say what I needed to say virtually. I needed to be right here on behalf of the council to state our strong opposition to Senate Bill 1005. 1005 unwisely proposes a reorganization of the Park and Planning Commission by eliminating its core administrative functions. Think about that. This bill will have severe negative impacts on several departments, including the Inspector General's office, including the Human Resources Department, Finance, and Legal. That's the heart of the commission that makes sure that we are all functioning online and with sound decisions. It will increase fragmentation and weaken regional coordination on land use, transportation, parks, and environmental planning. Furthermore, this late-filed legislation did not benefit from the kind of consultation with stakeholders in Montgomery County that changes of this magnitude merit. Not even a phone call I received as council president of the Montgomery County Council about this bill. not even one phone call. The MNCPPC is a national and local award-winning agency that has served the residents in Montgomery and Prince George's counties with national distinction for nearly a century. Please do not let SB 1005 harm it. I also want to note that I was the vice chair of the Montgomery County Planning Board, part of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. I was there for 7 years. This is personal to me. And when I came to this country, I lived in Langley Park. Prince George's is in my heart. It has always been in my heart. My high school was Northwestern High School. I'm a proud Wildcat. Then I moved to Montgomery County. So the Bi-County Commission represents something so special and, yes, unique. Nobody else in the nation has it. And we must protect it, evolve. Yes, evolving, but protecting it, the spirit that we have here in Maryland. With that, please vote against it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take questions of the panel. Okay, seeing no. Okay, Senator Simoner.
Yeah, just a procedural thing. Is this a local bill and we have a local letter?
It's a little complicated. It's two different delegations. We do have a letter from the Prince George's delegation. We do not have one yet from the Montgomery County delegation.
Okay. I'll talk to Watson afterwards.
Okay, Vice Chair Kagan, you had a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you all, proponents and opponents, for making time to be here. I have a question. I'm going to toss it to Madam Council President, but Mr. Chair, Artie, if you, or Meady, whomever wants to. So the proponents talked about the demographic differences between Montgomery County and Prince George's County. They were talking about black and brown small businesses and all that. I wonder if you could speak to any challenges that Park and Planning has when dealing with a bi-county agency in accommodating the different preferences, different priorities, or different, political leadership or anything between the two counties.
I can quickly send and turn it to you. The boards do operate separately. We have a Prince George's County Planning Board, and we have a Montgomery County Planning Board, that one I served on. And we have a different regulations, land use, ZTA, zoning text amendments. I'm proudly have worked on 3 different ZTAs recently in coordination with the Planning Commission. So those functions are differently, and I think that's okay, and it works. So anything else?
No, 100% on. Yeah, we have our own board meetings for Montgomery County issues. They have their own board meetings for the Prince George's County issues, and neither affects the other. So,
sure. Yeah. And I would add that as we work on master plans, we engage everyone in our community. So we try to engage the chambers, including the ethnic chambers that we have, that to try. So there's nothing in our current structure or with our central administrative services that prevent us from being able to promote economic development within our individual counties, to work on master plans and engage everyone in the community in an equitable way.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you all for your testimony. Okay, now we're going to go to a second panel, and everybody from this point forward are going to be on the up to 2-minute clock. So if you hear your name, come on up. Elizabeth Hewlett, Robin Brittingham, Francois Carrier, and finally, Josh Linden. So that's going to be a second panel of unfavorables. And, okay. Okay, since I'm looking right at you, why don't you start, and we'll just go down the table, and you're going to be, again, you're going to see a clock here on up to 2 minutes.
Ready now? Okay. Good day, Senators. I'm Elizabeth Hewlett, and I have the honor and the heavy burden to serve as the first African-American and, regrettably, the first and only woman to ever chair the Prince George's County Planning Board. Prior to that, I was legal to the Planning Board for 7 years, guiding the very board I would one day chair. After our former planning board letter that was submitted, the current planning board 4 days later decided to took a vote to support SB 1005, and I find myself in the untenable or unfortunate position of having to take a position opposite my former entity that I admire so much. But this bill is so untenable that I could not in good conscience sit on the sidelines. Much like buying a shiny car off the lot, you cannot be seduced by the gleam. You gotta look under the hood. First, let me note that there's been much discussion about land use and development. The land use article specifies, that state law specifies that land use operations and decisions by one plan in one county are determined by that planning board and that planning board alone. Same thing with Montgomery County, Prince George's and Montgomery County. They do not interfere with each other. This bill creates an increase to taxpayer burden. As the Prince George's County side is backed by the full faith and credit of Prince George's County, which is capped by TRIM, the increased taxpayer burden can easily affect the bond rating, particularly coupled with potential instability. Much like a poor credit rating, a decreased bond rating results in higher costs for new CIP projects, again passed along to the taxpayers. It threatens the central collective bargaining process for our two bi-county unions, McGeo and FOP, jeopardizes the independence of the General Counsel and his or her ability to provide sound legal advice and counsel free from direct control, and the potential impact on the thousands who depend on the commission pension system has yet to be explained. The professionals are just amazing in the bi-county office. They are the backbone, and the commission would never have received the awards that it has received. So in conclusion, true confession, I love the commission, and I'm grateful to the 7,000 consummate professionals and the retirees who give and gave their all. Can it be improved? Yes. Engage, but do it in the light of day and not in a stealth, late file bill devoid of thorough analysis, public input, and requisite transparency. The commission employees and residents deserve better. Check under the hood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, why don't you just pass the mic to your left here and just go down the table.
Good afternoon, Chair Feldman and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Robin Brittingham. I'm the Human Resource Manager for the Montgomery County Planning Department. I also want to note my mother, Dorothy Bailey, previously served on the Prince George's County Council for 8 years as both chair and vice chair, and she served as vice chair of the Prince George's County Planning Board for 14 years. I grew up watching her commitment to public service, to fairness, and to the people who make this commission work. That perspective guides my work every single day. I'm here today because this bill presents serious risk to thousands of commission employees who serve Montgomery County and Prince George's County. These employees deserve stability, clarity, and a system that protects their rights and their futures. This bill does not do that. As an experienced HR manager, I can say that decentralizing these functions would create real inefficiencies, inequities, and added costs. Recruitment, for example, is already one of the most resource-intensive functions at the Commission, in an area where we need more support, not less. And I know for sure that they are not running 4 to 6 months to hire employees. The Montgomery County and Prince George's County departments share commission staff who help each department with recruitment. Splitting this function would leave each county with the same workload but fewer staff, forcing departments to hire additional administrative positions and diverting resources away from core planning and parks work. The same concern applies to highly specialized functions such as job classification and compensation, employee and labor relations. These require expertise, consistency, and sufficient staffing, capacity that individual departments simply do not have the budget or workforce to absorb independently. Without centralized services, standardization breaks down, policies diverge, and the Commission loses the consistency that ensures fairness, efficiency, and stability across the organization. For these reasons, and on behalf of the workers I am entrusted to support, I respectfully urge the committee to oppose SB 1005. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Next witness.
Good afternoon. Is this on? Yeah. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee. My name is Françoise Carrier. I had the honor of serving as chair of the Montgomery County Planning Board from 2010 to 2014, and alternately as chair and vice chair of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. SB 1005 would not speed up any development review processes. Its only impact would be to undercut the mission of MNCPPC and set the stage for dismantling the agency. MNCPPC was created as a state agency with an important degree of independence from each of the counties it serves, allowing it to make professional, apolitical recommendations and decisions on issues that go to the heart of economic development and quality of life for residents. It has a long and storied history as one of the country's premier planning agencies and operator of award-winning park systems. Being an independent agency is central to these achievements, helping the agency to continue attracting top talent and allowing it to make decisions based on the public interest rather than political imperatives. Being an independent agency also creates important access to the bond markets to finance capital projects. This bill would eliminate the Office of the General Counsel, leaving the 10-member commission with no access to lawyers whose duty is to serve them, to advise them, and to look out for the commission's legal interests. It would eliminate the Shared Human Resources Department, which is the only sensible and cost-effective way to operate the bi-county merit system and pension plan. The bill would eliminate the shared financial and procurement functions that create money-saving economies of scale. Each of these functions would have to be recreated in each county at great expense. Just the process of tearing apart the shared departments and rebuilding individual ones would consume financial and human resources for months, if not years. Inevitably, this distraction would diminish the agency's ability to continue providing top-notch services. The public interest is clearly better served by maintaining a high-performing agency and avoiding wasteful and duplicative government spending. I urge you to vote against this bill. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go to the final witness on this panel, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Linden, and I'm honored to serve as the Vice Chair of the Montgomery County Planning Board. I'm here today because SB 1005 presents serious and immediate risks to the financial stability, operational effectiveness, and governance integrity of the Commission. The Montgomery County Planning Board is deeply concerned about how these changes would affect our ability to serve the public and meet our obligations to both staff and retirees. The impact on staff and retirees really cannot be overstated. We have jointly managed pension and retirement systems for decades, and I personally serve on one of these boards. The actuarial information that drives our pension plan would be completely upended by the changes inherent in this bill, and untangling these systems would be extraordinarily complex and risky. We have both a fiduciary and moral obligation to protect the retirement security of people who have devoted their careers to public service. The bill is unclear about how it would affect merit status for the employees in CAS department, creating uncertainty for the Commission's most valuable asset, its talented and dedicated staff. Removing core administrative functions from a centralized structure and pushing those functions and direct authority over those employees onto a part-time planning board fundamentally changes our role as planning commissioners. It would severely limit our ability to adequately manage and serve full-time staff. I also remind you that none of us were consulted beforehand on the purpose or the substance of this bill, or the impact on our budget or effectiveness. In my experience as a land use planner, I've worked with many cities and counties across the country. The work performed by the staff as part of this commission is of the highest quality and exemplifies the power of our commission to attract talented people. SB 1005 would force the duplication of administrative functions, adding millions in overhead, and diverting limited resources away from the parks planning programs and services residents depend on. It's not just difficult, it is irresponsible, particularly during this uncertain economic climate. So for all these reasons, I urge the committee to reject SB 105. The risks to our residents, our staff, our retirees, and the parks and neighborhoods you care about are simply too great. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take questions. We'll start with Senator Harris.
Appreciate that, Mr. Chair. So quick question. I have a quick question in this public meeting that we're having right now. Montgomery County population at that time was 49,000. Prince George's, 60,000. Almost 100 years later, Montgomery County 1.1, Prince George's 986. I'm listening to most of everyone's testimony. I just want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding what you all are saying. So you all are not saying that we shouldn't make any changes over the past 100 years, because obviously what it was built for 100 years ago with combined population between the two counties is not even close to what we see today. But what we're saying is not this change, but we can make other changes.
Yeah, thank you. Wait, can I just say, we don't need 4 answers. How about 1 or 2 would be really
We only need one.
Okay.
Only one.
Why don't we start with, because you're the Prince George's representative.
Yes, that's a very good question. And yes, the commission has made, I'm glad you brought it up, because the commission has made numerous changes over the years, over the decades. It had to in order to keep up and promote the growth and development of both counties. So yes, it was imperative. And I'm not saying that you can't do it now either. Can it improve? Yes. But engage don't slip in a last-minute bill with this without the community input and public input, what have. Engage and do it the proper way.
Yeah, so the only, and I'm sorry, Chair, because here's what I'm going to say, because I think it's really important. I'm a type of person that, it's important what we say in public matters, right? This is a Senate bill, right, that was submitted correctly. Wasn't submitted in the night of day. It was submitted correctly. And you are here because the Senate bill was submitted correctly and you're providing a testimony. So I just want to make sure we don't tell folks in the public that this was done secretly, because that's disingenuous to us, and I find that pretty disrespectful to me, saying that I've done something, or anybody in the Prince George's County Senate delegation did something incorrectly. We followed the Senate rules in providing this particular legislation. So I appreciate that. I understand people are passionate about this, but we just got to make sure we say things correctly and don't put false narratives out there. That's all.
May I elaborate? May
Yes.
I respond? Thank you, and others may want to respond. If that's what you took from of my statement, then I will apologize for that publicly. But that is not what I meant. Usually bills are very often they're pre-filed, and there's engagement with the community, and there's engagement with the stakeholders beforehand. And so that is what I was referring to. Engage. I am definitely not saying that they can't be improved upon, or that we can't make changes, because we have so over the many, many, many years. But I was just saying engage and have more community input, more thorough analysis. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Linden, why don't you just weigh in, and I think that'll be the extent of the.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the question. I think that, the specifics of your question about, what kind of changes are we actually talking about, what changes are required, I think our directors can speak more specifically about the things that have happened over the last years and decades. But what I can tell you is that we are always changing. We are always pursuing more effectiveness, more efficiency. There are several initiatives just since we've been on the planning board in the past 3 years where we are trying to improve how CAS operates and serves both us and Prince George's County. They've made great strides. They're currently procuring a new central system to further that effort through HR, kind of central benefit support to staff across both counties. And programmatically, in terms of development review, our regulatory responsibilities, we are always searching for more efficiencies, better outcomes, the proper incentives. And I imagine that our partners on Prince George's side are doing the same, because we often talk to them about things that they're doing. We often learn from them. And I think our planning director and our parks director can speak more about that. There's a lot that we do together. There's a lot that we learn from each other. And we are constantly trying to improve. And in the past few years, I think you've seen the outcomes of that. You've seen the outcomes of our efforts to improve our internal work. And the outcomes are you can see throughout our communities.
Okay, additional questions for the panel? Okay, seeing none, thank you all for your testimony. I'm going to call another panel of unfavorables. Trish Heffelfinger, my constituent there. Okay, Adrian Gardner. Adrian, why don't you come on up? Okay, Taylor McCollum. Rosalind Johnson here. Okay. Is Darlene Douglas here? Okay, Darlene, come on up. Okay, that'll be the extent of the witnesses on this panel.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Adrian Gardner, and it was my privilege to serve as the General Counsel of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission for over 22 years. I retired about 3 years ago. And obviously, SB 1005 has tremendous import to me. I don't even want to use all my time, but I do want to try to address a couple of points. The first one is about the pension. I think Josh made this point, but I just want to underscore that. It is simply not feasible to take one pension system and one HR system and split them in two and not have actuarial impact. It is also not possible because that will affect the people whose current pensions and whose current contributions are under an expectation of a unified HR system. So it's just not feasible. Talk to your colleagues about that. One other point I wanted to make with respect to the impeding development. The commission has a regulation. It's drafted, it's been promulgated for many years. It's called Practice Number 1-40. And what that is it lays out the organizations and functions of the Office of General Counsel. And for purposes of this conversation, I want to make it very clear. Each planning board is assigned dedicated counsel. Those for dealing with development projects in each county. They are subject to the rules of professional procedure, which in this case is Maryland Rule 1.13, which talks about how you represent an organization. And so the idea that you need to now somehow separate the supervision and the quality control makes no sense. And the last thing I want to say is about change. The commission has done nothing but change. When it was created, the appointments were made by the governor. There were 6 members, and there were no planning boards. The planning boards are a result of that change. It has adapted. It will continue to adapt. Please do not adopt Senate Bill 1005.
Okay, let's go next. Yeah. Pass that. Go on. We'll just then go down the table after that. So.
Good afternoon, Chair Feldman and members of the committee. My name is Darlene Douglas. I serve at the Commission for 25 years and a Montgomery County resident. I currently serve as president of the elected Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Retiree Association Board, representing 709 retirees in the employee ERS system as of June 2026, and I oppose SB 105. You have received my written testimony. However, I'd like to offer a few additional remarks. I stand on the shoulders of Mary Wells Harley, a former employee who dedicated nearly 43 years to advocating for the citizens of both counties, as well as for employees and retirees. With her recent and untimely passing, I've reflected deeply on her legacy. Her passion for the commission was rooted in one fundamental principle: public service. Although she served as Prince George's County Director and later as Montgomery County Planning Board Commissioner, the first African-American woman to serve as Vice Chair, and as a former president of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Retiree Association Board, public service remained paramount throughout her career. For more than 700 retirees, individuals who reported to work every day in service to the commission, there was a promise that once they were vested, they would receive a defined retirement benefit for life. Many recognize the commission for its professional staff who are deeply committed to the communities they serve, both now and for future generations. We have a talented workforce and thousands of dedicated volunteers, exceptional recreational programs, facilities that serve people of all ages and disabilities. How can we ensure these services will continue effectively without full transparency with this bill? No organization can function successfully without safeguarding these vital areas and ensuring they operate smoothly and sustainably. That requires clear leadership and continued commitment to excellence. At this time, we do not fully understand the costs or the long-term impact this bill may have on the system that support our employees and retirees. That uncertainty is deeply concerning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Trish, sorry for botching up your name because we do know each other. Okay.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
My name is Trish Heffelfinger. I serve as president of the board of directors for the Montgomery Parks Foundation, the official nonprofit partner of Montgomery Parks. I'm here today in strong opposition to SB 1005. The Montgomery Parks Foundation exists to protect our natural ecosystems, celebrate our cultural resources, and bring people together through parks. Since 1992, we have helped sustain and enhance an award-winning park system by raising critical funding beyond what the county budget can provide. That support has only become more important as our population grows and demand for parks continues to increase. When public funding cannot keep up, we help close the gap by bringing in philanthropic support from community members, businesses, and grant makers who believe in parks. But that work depends on stability, strong governance, and clear legal and financial oversight. SB 1005 moves in the opposite direction. It weakens the consolidated bi-county model, breaks apart the unified general counsel structure, and through proposed amendments could even disrupt procurement. The kind of restructuring creates uncertainty, slows decision-making, and risks undermining the confidence that donors and partners need before they invest in public projects. We should be focused on strengthening the system, not dismantling it. For those reasons, the Montgomery Parks Foundation respectfully urges the committee to issue an unfavorable report on SB 1005 and to reject any amendments that further destabilize the current structure. Thank you for your time and your continued support of parks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go down the table.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Taylor Frazier McCollum, and I'm a resident of Prince George's County in Landover, Maryland. I'll be brief because I know minds are usually made up long before these hearings. I urge you to oppose SB 1005 being pushed on us. Nothing has been said about the financial impact of this separation. How much will it cost Prince Georgians to retain their own general counsel? How will these new positions be filled? Why can't we just separate Parks and Rec? We don't need less oversight in Prince George's, we need more. We currently don't have an auditor, and our deficit was largely reduced by moving funds around. Elected officials stand to benefit the most from this restructuring. What costs will be associated with decentralization of the planning department? Any hindrances in the process of planning surely can be corrected without restructuring. I'm curious as to why our infrastructure in Prince George's County can't operate on the level of Montgomery County. It can't be the planning department alone. Prince George's County government has long been filled with challenges and, dare I say, corruption. What protects residents from further corruption? I fear that this change will lead to less oversight and more finagling of funds. I understand that this matter is beyond me, but please take a look at the fiscal impacts. We have the same wants and needs as residents in Montgomery County, yet Montgomery County has passed us by light years. Prince George's may have different goals than Montgomery, but again, what will this cost residents? Recently, PG Planning Board members were appointed without proper documentation being released to the public. We don't need more of that. I don't claim to know all the ins and outs of the planning process, but as a concerned resident, I'm trying. If these changes financially affects residents, how can we further increase the burden on an already struggling county? Please vote no. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the final witness on the panel.
Good afternoon. I'm Rosalind Johnson. Some may call me a national leader in Parks and Recreation, but I'm here today as the resident of Anne Arundel County and as a retired member of MNC PPC. When I proudly served as Deputy Director for Facility Operations for Prince George's County, I contributed to a retirement system that is 94% funded, the best public funded retirement system in the state. The system is stable, transparent, and respected across the country. Smoke and mirrors Senate Bill 1005 would destroy that stability. This bill, if passed, is the beginning of the end of the commission as we know it. The public is watching you from all over the country. To Channel Tupac, all eyes are on you. This is not a Prince George's or Montgomery County issue. This is a statewide issue. What's being proposed here is frankly a Bernie Madoff situation, taking money and authority from a well-managed fund for personal and political interests. Stevie Wonder can see that. Let me tell you why guardrails matter. In every government, legal counsel, procurement, HR, and IT are the safeguards that ensure accountability. Please tell me why this bill plans to give all of its control to the Planning Board Chair and Director of Recreation and Parks, AKA the 130-day tenure crew. That's not oversight, that's insider control from one big happy family. This is an attempt to rig the system so they don't have to so Prince George's County can attempt to buy an attorney to give them the position and not follow the rules at the taxpayer's expense. When I was with the commission, we reduced the program charges from 10 to $2 million, which helped maintain the AAA bond rating. Today, it has increased to over $90 million. $2 million to the Kappa House for repairs, of which Ron Watson is a member, $10 million to which was later increased to $30 million to Taraji P. Henson's nonprofit, including paying $50,000 for Taraji P. Henson's hair and makeup, and millions more quietly steered to nonprofits connected to those political allies. This is exactly why this bill was created, because the Commission's general counsel tried to expose these abuses. I will. Okay. And she has been challenged ever since. The only reason she still has a job is because she serves both Montgomery and Prince George's counties. If she reported solely to Prince George's County, she'd be gone too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, questions for this panel of witnesses? Okay, seeing none. Okay, we're going to, thank you for your testimony. We do have one in-person witness, Tom Ballantyne left, and 2 virtual witnesses. Mr. Ballantyne, why don't you come up, and then we'll bring our 2 virtual witnesses in as well, and then that'll be the extent of the testimony on this bill. Mr. Ballantyne, you're on the 2-minute clock.
Thank you, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, members of the committee. Tom Ballantyne on behalf of NAIOP Maryland. We're a commercial real estate trade association here to recommend your unfavorable report on Senate Bill 1005. Our membership is made up of locally based companies that have been in this market for decades, publicly traded companies that work in national and international markets. They invest in the National Capital Region for a number of reasons, including the historic market and demographic strength, high quality of contractors and consultants, and the confidence they have that the Park and Planning Commission's frameworks has a proven ability to manage complex development proposals. For nearly a century, the Commission has provided coordinated, efficient systems of land use and development review in both Montgomery and Prince George's counties. Its centralized structure, as you've heard, enables both counties to share specialized legal, HR, IT, administrative functions, as well as policy analysis and planning expertise. The Commission framework provides these collaborative advantages, but still allows each planning board to remain independent with authority over regulations, development review, zoning ordinances, and maps. We think this bill would abruptly disrupt this proven model, create uncertainty, higher costs, reduce consistency in regional planning, and would replace a well-functioning, nationally respected, and cost-effective framework with something as duplicative and less coordinated. For the commercial real estate industry and other regulated entities who depend on the Commission's professionalism and predictability, we think the impacts would be harmful to our operations in both counties. So for those reasons, we're here to respectfully request your unfavorable report. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Ballantyne? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Okay, I did miss one witness, Lakeisha Robinson. Ms. Robinson, my apologies. Okay, you're on the unfavorable category. You'll have up to 2 minutes, then we'll go to our final witnesses. Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Lakeisha Robinson, Chief of Police for Montgomery County Park Police. With me are Assistant Chief Nicole Adams and Assistant Chief Tracy Lieberman. I am here on behalf of Montgomery Parks to oppose Senate Bill 1005. I've served with the Park Police for nearly 22 years in both Montgomery and Prince George's counties. As a bi-county police agency, the services provided by Central Administrative Services have been and continue to be instrumental to park police operations. The Office of General Counsel is essential to our internal affairs work under the Maryland Police Accountability Act, including guidance on the Administrative Charging Committee. General Counsel advises on incidents that occur on the park, represents the agency at hearing and trial boards, and help us navigate the intersection of the FOP collective bargaining agreement and merit system rules. Because we are bi-county, we consult with General Counsel to keep policies aligned in Montgomery and Prince George's. That consistency reduces risk and ensures fair, legally sound treatment for employees regardless of assignment. Corporate Human Resources administers our bi-county promotional process through the rank of captain and manages entry-level testing for officer applicants. They verify qualifications, support oral boards, coordinate required medical assessments, and assist with salary negotiations for non-sworn staff. Corporate information technology supports critical systems we depend on in the field and in our facilities, including cameras, access control, and Active Directory. In addition, our computer-aided dispatch and report management systems are shared across both divisions, enabling situational awareness, such as viewing officer locations while in the field. Central Administrative Services is essential to our ability to operate as an effective, accountable bi-county law enforcement agency. For these reasons, the Park Police respectfully urge the committee to issue an unfavorable report on Senate Bill 1005. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the witness? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to our virtual witness or two. We've got, is that Mr. Craig Smith in Caroline Taylor, our two virtual witnesses. Mr. Smith, why don't you go first? And again, you're going to be on the up to 2-minute clock. Then we'll take Caroline Taylor, and then we'll take questions for both of you. So, Mr. Smith, why don't you start?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. I respectfully urge the committee to report unfavorably on SB 1005. I've worked on environmental, transportation, public health, land use, and good government issues in Montgomery County and in Prince George's County at various times since 1990. I testified before the Prince George's County Planning Board and District Council many times on land use cases and proposed legislation. I've been a party to multiple legal challenges, and just yesterday, the Appellate Court of Maryland ruled in favor of a nonprofit that I lead. No one opposed to this bill has claimed MNC-PPC works perfectly, and I won't either. But the changes proposed by this late-filed bill are too profound and far-reaching to be approved through a rushed process in the closing weeks of the session. This bill would have profound fiscal and operational impacts on the Commission, its subsidiary agencies and employees, and on their ability to carry out the Commission's vital mission. The fiscal and policy note cites increased costs and inefficiencies, significant operational challenges, and increased exposure to litigation. There has been essentially no transparency in Prince George's County around this late-filed bill. I learned about this bill only late last week and only through a blog post. As far as I know, no Prince George's County agency has published an analysis of the bill's fiscal and operational impacts. In contrast, Montgomery County Planning Board has laid out numerous impacts and legitimate concerns. I don't know of any serious public discussion in Prince George's County regarding this bill. Instead, with less than 15 hours notice, the County Planning Board convened a, quote, emergency meeting on morning of March 20th, where it voted 5-0 to support. That meeting lasted 7 minutes. 2 members had been appointed only last week. A third member was confirmed only last November, and the chair was appointed 8 months ago. There was no substantive discussion or questions. I've shared the link to that meeting with you in my testimony. In contrast, on the 16th, 10 former members of the Planning Board, of the Prince George's County Planning Board, including four former
Mr. Smith,
chairs.
why don't you start to wrap up, okay?
I'll wrap it up. I think the fiscal and policy note speaks for itself. You've got the statement from the 10 former members of the Prince George's County Planning Board. I can tell you, the more people in Prince George's County learn about this bill and the way it's been late filed and fast tracked, the more unhappy they are. I'm talking about civic and environmental leaders across the county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Caroline Taylor, you'll be the final witness on the bill, and you can start when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
I'm Caroline Taylor with Montgomery Countryside Alliance, coming to you from the Agricultural Reserve. It's spring planting season, so I apologize that I'm not there in person. We do have plenty of business before the Commission, and while we may not always agree with the outcome of our issues, believe me when I say we respect the agency and the public purpose of the long-standing foundation of checks and balances. We urge an unfavorable on 1005 for many of the reasons you're hearing today, including from our colleagues in Prince George's County. This is big. It's consequential and is coming at us late and fast and without the crucial transparency, evidence-based justification, and specific estimates of fiscal impact of the bill. And that is something that the public deserves. Inefficiencies, absolutely, no doubt. But missing here is the specific data-driven information on what they are and the possible collaborative options to address them through a transparent process. If you'll give me a second here, I'd like to read from Royce Hansen, former planning chair's testimony. He was not able to be there today. He writes, the planning board deals with development, the most important economic activity and politically the most sensitive in the two counties. It is critical for commissioners and staff to have highly competent and independent legal advice and support for their decisions. Because the general counsel, as a statutory officer of the commission, must be chosen and can only be dismissed by full commission, that arrangement provides a level of insulation from the politics of each county and an important guard against corruption. It has been key to making the commission one of the most effective planning organizations in the nation. Over the 100-year history of the commission, its Office of the General Counsel has become one of the foremost land use and park law practices in the country. It has outlawyered some of the most prominent land use attorneys in the country, almost done, and provided the legal foundation for some of the most innovative land use policies in the nation. I so appreciate the ability to give these comments and again urge unfavorable. Thank you so much.
Okay, any questions for either Mr. Smith or Ms. Taylor? Okay, seeing none, thank you both. That concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 1005. And with that, we're going to now pivot to the House bills we have on the calendar. Who here is from either or any of the delegates or representatives? Okay, okay, yeah, okay, come up here, April Rose. We're going to, since you're the first to raise your hand, we're going to be on House Bill 1025. Just indulge me a minute. Okay, House Bill 1025, and we do have Andrew, well, I don't know, from Department of Labor. Did you want to bring anybody up there here? Andrew from...
He was going to try to be here, but I'm not sure if he
Okay,
made
Andrew
it.
Foganetti from Labor is signed up, so if he shows up, he can join you at the table. With that said, we're on House Bill 1025, and you can start.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for being here today. So I am here to present House Bill 1025, Delegate April Rose, for the record. This bill is a very, very simple bill that we passed this bill last year, and the Department of Labor identified a technical error in the legislation that was establishing a new eyelash extension limited license. As written, the language from last year allowed the board examination component to be optional, which was making it inconsistent with all other limited licenses under the Board of Cosmetologists. This change would basically have an applicant for a limited license. They must pass an examination given by the board under the subtitle rather than or. So they must actually pass the test. That's really the only correction. Very complicated landmark legislation. Thank you for your time, and I ask for a favorable report.
Okay, do we have any questions for Delegate Rose? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1025. Thank you.
Thank you.
Delegate Kaufman, why don't you come on up on House Bill 866? And we do have two virtual witnesses that we will queue up here. Okay, Aaron?
I'm going to sit.
You take the time you need to present House Bill, again, 866. I would like to acknowledge Ben Nasta, stand up. So some of you know I chair a national NCSL task force on energy stuff, and Senator Hester chairs a standing committee, and Ben Nasta from NCSL is visiting us in Annapolis, so I just want to acknowledge you, and I will be seeing you soon. So, okay.
Good afternoon.
Okay, Aaron, just to put that mic close so everybody can hear your testimony. Okay, so again, for everybody, we're on House Bill 866. So why don't you start, Aaron?
Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan. It's always good to be in the presence of friends and members of the EEE Committee. For the record, my name is Delegate Aaron Kaufman, here to request a favorable report on HB 866, which passed the House unanimously and has no fiscal note. The work group was initial. Oh, I need to move my mic again. Thank you, Senator Watson. The work group was originally established through House Bill 1069, which was favorably reported by this committee and enacted in 2024. Its purpose was to examine systemic service gaps impacting the deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing Marylanders. The findings today highlight barriers in behavioral health, access to transportation, interpreter coordination, employment services, and cross-agency case management. Following discussions with the Governor's Office of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, we discussed that there are many issues that still need to be researched and examined, and the and the department needs more, or the Governor's Office of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing needs more time to gather stakeholder input. Therefore, this bill extends the work group through December 31st, 2028, with a final report due to the Governor and the General Assembly by December 1st, 2028. The work group does not have a fiscal note because the Governor's Office of Deaf and Hard of Hearing can use existing resources to cover the cost of any expense. The work group has made progress and already has generated concrete recommendations. For instance, one of their recommendations was to rename the Governor's Office of Deaf and Hard of Hearing to the Governor's Office of Deaf, Deafblind, and Hard of Hearing to accurately reflect the communities it serves. And thank you to my dear friend Senator Harris and this committee for passing that legislation. So I've already indicated that reflects the recommendations are producing concrete legislative results. HB 866 allows the work group to complete a comprehensive data-driven evaluation and deliver durable, fiscally responsible recommendations. For those reasons, I respectfully request a favorable report on HB 866. Thank you, and I'll happily answer any questions.
Okay, let's take the two virtual witnesses that are favorable, and then we'll take questions. Shirla, Mr. Berry, why don't you go first? And you're going to be on the up to 2-minute clock, okay, Mr. Berry? You hear me? You're on mute.
She's deaf.
Okay, right.
Yes, thank you. Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. The Maryland Governor's Office of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing respectfully submits this letter of support regarding the proposed extension of the Maryland Deaf, Blind, and Hard of Hearing Working Group. The work group was established to examine systemic barriers affecting deaf, blind, and hard of hearing Marylanders in areas such as communication access, employment, healthcare, emergency preparedness, education, and interagency coordination. Through collaboration among state agencies, community organizations, and advocacy groups, the work group has made meaningful progress in identifying service gaps and evaluating potential policy improvements. The Office of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing supports extending the work group to allow additional time for comprehensive data collection, stakeholder engagement, and development of thoughtful, actionable recommendations. Because many of the issues under review involve cross-agency coordination and long-term policy considerations, additional time will help to ensure that further recommendations are well-developed, operationally feasible, and aligned with Maryland's fiscal and administrative framework. An extension will strengthen the quality of the work group's final report and provide the General Assembly with more complete, data-informed findings to guide future decision-making. ODHH appreciates the committee's continued commitment to improving access and equity for deaf, blind, and hard of hearing Marylanders, and respectfully urges favorable consideration for the working group's extension. Thank you for your consideration. We remain available to provide any additional information or respond to any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Berry. Let's go to Ms. Porter next, and then we'll take questions, okay? Ms. Porter, you're next.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, usually I will be signing, but today I'm going to be speaking for myself as the representative of the Maryland Association of the Deaf, as well as the District 19, which is the Montgomery County resident. So I really feel strongly about extending the time that we need to type. As a child as well, we need more time because I'm a member of the white group. And we definitely need more time because when we first started this project, we realized that it was really more complex. There was a lot more things we had to consider, especially since we were talking about the whole state of Maryland, not just, county. I just wanted to touch on something. The recent testimony about the Maryland Parks and Planning Commission. One panelist made a very interesting point. He mentioned the need for the existing system to adapt and change with the current reality. And that statement is really true because oftentimes deaf, blind, and hard of hearing in Maryland citizens encounter so many barriers, including communication aspects, attitude, especially when it comes to disability. So I think giving us more time for this work group to really do the work will really be beneficial, not just for the deaf, blind, hard of hearing, but also for the state of Maryland overall, because we have family, friends, colleagues that work with us that it would be really beneficial. Thank you. I would really appreciate your favorable report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions for Delegate Kaufman, the sponsor, or our two virtual witnesses? Okay, seeing none, that is going to conclude the bill hearing on 866. Aaron, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if I just briefly, I want to thank Senator Simon Ayer for his decades of service to the people of Maryland and wish him well in his retirement.
Okay, that was nice. We're going to miss him. Okay. Yeah. Delegate Metzger, why don't you come up next on House Bill 166? And I've got David Sanders signed up for in-person testimony, and then we do have one virtual witness. Is the virtual witness in the queue? Okay, the virtual witness on here. So, Mr. Sanders, you're going to be the lone witness on this bill. Again, House Bill 166, along with Delegate Metzger, the sponsor.
Senate Bill 166.
House Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
House Bill 166.
House, oh, Lord. I just got myself a promotion, right? House Bill, it's Senate hearing, House Bill 166, Public Health Henrietta Lacks Commission Establishment, March the 26th, 2026. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, distinguished members. Well, let me see if you're distinguished or not. Yeah, you look distinguished. Thank you for the opportunity today to speak. For the record, I'm Delegate Rick Metzger from Legislative District 6, Baltimore County. I'm the sponsor of House Bill 166. Henrietta Lacks was a 31-year-old Maryland resident who died in 1951 while battling cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins Hospital. Her cells were known as HeLa cells, were taken from her without her permission for cancer research. Those cells, by the way, are still used today for medical research. Her story has received national attention when Oprah Winfrey played Henrietta's daughter, Deborah, in the 2017 HBO movie, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, based on a book by the same name, Rebecca Schlott. House Bill 166 would establish the Henrietta Lacks Commission in honor of the legacy of Henrietta Lacks. By the way, this family has been waiting 74 years for some real information to report to the governor and the General Assembly on its activities regarding oversight, the life sciences, the activities in the state, promotion of education on the life of Henrietta Lacks. The bill passed with bipartisan support in the House. I'm hoping the same thing will happen here in the Senate. For those reasons, I ask a favorable report on House Bill 166. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the Henrietta Lacks is a tremendous woman of grace, and her family. I've met the family. Very recently, we've had some things in collateral. And Turner Station is just a dynamic community of Eastern Baltimore County. I have fallen in love with Turner Station, the area. We've been working together collaboratively with Congressman McFumaine to get them infrastructure money for the floods and so forth. But the Henrietta Lacks Commission is a tremendous, and I'll let my spokesperson, Mr. Dave Sanders, kind of share.
Okay, Mr. Sanders, welcome. Again, you're going to be on the up to 2-minute clock, okay? And take your time and present them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is David Sanders. I am a cancer survivor. I'm a veteran. I'm an advocate and activist. And I am from that paradise that Delegate Metzger just described called Turner Station, Maryland. I'm here today to ask for a favorable consideration of HB 0166 to establish the Henrietta Lacks Commission of Maryland. And it has two purposes. We need to protect every citizen of the state of Maryland from the ethical problems that the family of Henrietta Lacks is suffering, fighting, and only just beginning to win. The ethical failures of the moment that are well known have led to the economic hardship of the family through many generations and the circumvention of their estate, which is the most contemptible and totally unacceptable condition that still exists. Since we have life sciences growing in the state of Maryland, such as the recent consideration of AstraZeneca to put up a big factory here, and clinical trials are running amok in our communities. But they're not being successful because we have not given our citizens the benefit of Henrietta Lacks's legacy. Thank you for rewriting the bill for education that will cover bioethics and healer sciences, economic development, state tourism, and curating an accurate and perpetual registry. The foundation for the bill was established on October 4th at a homecoming for Henrietta Lacks at Dundalk High School, in which she was honored as Maryland's phenomenal tissue donor. In closing, I would like to say something very simple. She is us, every one of us. And the victory of Henrietta Lacks belongs to all of us. So I ask that the Henrietta Lacks Commission of Maryland Act be passed unanimously and expeditiously, and let the dawn of this new immortal day of morality begin for every citizen of the state of Maryland. Thank you.
By the way, I need to tell you that any kind of medicine that you take, whatever kind of pill you take, you have Henrietta Lacks in that medicine, any kind of medicine. And by the way, this bill has been proposed in Virginia. I just heard probably in Utah. So it's a tremendous access.
Okay, questions for the panel? Sponsor, Delegate Metzger or Mr. Sanders? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on House Bill 166.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Senators, have a blessed retirement.
Yes. Okay, anybody here on behalf of any of the delegates? Okay, why don't you come up to the front row so I can see exactly who's here. Is anybody here on behalf of Delegate Hill? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to call you next because I see former Senator Ariana Kelly, who's testifying on this bill. Let's bring Senator Kelly up here on House Bill 1300. And, yeah, you're from Delegate Hills? Yeah. You're going to be presenting the bill, so you got to sit right there in front of the mic. And then you've got one witness, Senator Kelly, and so take your time to present House Bill 1300.
Thank you. Wait, is this on? Okay. Thank you, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the Senate Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. My name is Jordan Uffel, and I'm a senior at the University of Maryland in College Park, and I have the pleasure of serving as a second-year intern for Delegate Hill. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of House Bill 1300, the Maryland Commission for Women Alterations. House Bill 1300 makes important updates to the Maryland Commission for Women to ensure it can better serve women across the state. This bill passed the House with strong bipartisan support with the vote of 124-7. The bill improves the commission's structure by placing the executive director's position within the skilled service rather than as a special appointee. This makes the role merit-based, nonpartisan, and accountable to the commission rather than the governor, helping provide stability and continuity in the commission's work. House Bill 1300 also updates and strengthens the commission's responsibilities. It directs the commission to study issues affecting women, identify disparities, raise public awareness, and support policies that improve economic security, health, and opportunity. It also provides the commission's work with local and state groups that empower women across Maryland. These changes ensure that the Commission is better equipped to respond to current challenges and support women in all areas of life, including the workplace, education, and community leadership. House Bill 1300 is a practical step towards strengthening an existing institution to continue effectively supporting women in Maryland. I respectfully urge a favorable report. Thank you.
Okay, Ariana, welcome. You're the, why don't you weigh in on this bill? You've signed up favorable.
Super, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the EEE Committee. I'm so happy to be back here, especially I'm looking at Senator Washington, whose wife is a commissioner on the Commission for Women, and of course, Chair Feldman, you all may not know, his protege, Shauna Pearson-Merkowitz, is one of our commissioners. I am the Executive Director of the Commission for Women. I'm here to answer any questions you have. Just by way of background, to make sure it's clear to you all, we're in our 60th anniversary as a Commission for Women. So our statute, a lot of what this bill does is update language in the statute, make more modern language, and everything in this bill reflects our current processes. So these are things that we're already doing. The research that we work on with Commissioner Pearson-Merkowitz, for example, is reflected in this statute. It also reflects partnerships with the 17 local commissions. I think almost all of your jurisdictions have a local commission that we partner with, and we partner with statewide women's groups. The part about the executive director position, I want to make really clear to you, that's actually clarifying a policy change that this body made in 2006 as a result of legislation from Senator Dolores Kelly. So that bill passed, and that got the language about the executive director being a merit employee into the statute. The question, I think, that's a little unclear in the statute is that it also has somewhere else in the statute that the secretary appoints the executive director. So it conflicts with itself. So I was hired as a skilled service employee. I went through a public interview process. I was the same process that all skilled service employees take is the process I went through. It's just that the statute doesn't reflect that, and that was really an oversight. I can tell you that that is something that happened with when my predecessor was hired. Senator Kelly had to call HR and say, hey, no, the intent of the legislation was that this is a merit employee. That's why we put the word in merit employee. So it's just cleanup. We're just trying to make sure that the statute reflects everything that we do with the commission as we're doing it now. And I really enjoy working with all of you, and I look forward to continued work to advance women's rights in Maryland, and thank you for your leadership.
Okay, Senator Washington.
Again, thank you for what you've done and what you've been doing. We do miss you in the Senate, but this is an important place to be. So I have a question just about its placement in the Human Service article, since we're looking around. It's interesting. So are other commissions, where are other commissions located? Is it in state government article?
It's all over the place.
So they're assigned
I can give you a little back. I know your brain, so I'll give you a little step back.
Okay.
We are in the Human Services article in part because 60 years ago, there was one woman in the cabinet, and it was the secretary of the predecessor for Human Services. However, the Commission on Caregiving is also housed in DHS. There are several commissions housed there. Other commissions can be housed in other state agencies or with the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. For the Commission for Women, being part of DHS has been very good. It gives us the stability that we need, and I'm able to use their communications department, their legislative affairs, et cetera. So I love it.
Sounds good.
Okay, additional questions? Okay.
Quick question.
Okay, Senator Simoneau.
Yeah, I was looking, I was seeing what page it was on, and it talked about recommending strategies on page 3, lines 23 to 26, which sounds good. Recommend strategies to reduce discrimination in employment, education, et cetera. But then it says in elected positions across professions and within society.
Yes.
That almost sounds like campaign.
We do not, thank you for your question, Senator Simoneau. I appreciate it. We don't do campaigning work. I brought a copy and I can show it to you. We did this Maryland Women in Elected Office report. It, for example, highlights that Senator Carrozza is the only Republican woman in the Senate. So we share information about, across counties, across jurisdictions, about how women are elected, how many women are elected. There are 11, now 10 counties with no woman on their county council. So data like that we share, but we are not campaigning or supporting people in elected office. In terms of across society, that's really referring to the work that the Commission has historically done to make sure that women are appropriately represented on corporate boards and in other types of appointments like that.
Right, and I get that, and I support that. But the language doesn't say supply information to them. It says recommend strategies, which could be interpreted as campaign manager style strategies, because there are strategies in campaigning. Would you mind if, I don't know if we will, but could tighten that up a little to get to what you were saying just there?
I've certainly, it's not my legislation, so I would consult with Delegate Hill's team on that. But,
okay.
You know, in general, I would say that the Commission is really committed to making sure that we get a bill this year. So,
Well, let me ask, I don't talk much, a better question.
Yeah.
Is it the intent, and maybe you're the person,
yeah.
that it's more about providing information opposed to strategic campaigning strategies?
It absolutely was not intended to describe strategic campaigning. We don't do electoral work. We do, however, do strategic campaigns related to our policy work. So that's why I think that language is in there, because we are, for example, bipartisan unanimous support out of the Senate, the menopause-related legislation. That was part of a Commission for Women campaign. We worked with communicating with the local commissions and with women across the state to identify the problem. We developed a policy solution. We identified sponsors.
I think we're saying the same thing. I may talk with Delegate Hill, just see if we can get that and then get it moving.
Okay, Senator Washington.
On that point, and I think this will make it clear that the bill actually strikes the provision. If you look on page 2 and the duties of the commission, there's 3, which right now states that encourage women to become candidates for public office. That's in the existing law. So currently, the office would be able to do that under existing law, but
Absolutely.
It doesn't do that. So that language is being struck from the bill. Also, it strikes other language that talks about recommending methods of overcoming discrimination in public and private employment. It also strikes this other thing. So it does really, I think, it addresses the senator's concern.
Thank you, Senator Washington. I would agree with you there. I think the current language is broader than the language that is replacing it.
That is correct.
Okay, any additional questions on this piece of legislation? Okay, seeing none, that concludes hearing on House Bill 1300. Thank you. Good to see you, Ariana. Okay, who else? Who's here? Who else is here? Come up so I can see you. Okay, who are you here on behalf of?
DBM with HB 640.
Okay, why don't you have a seat on House Bill 640? And what's your name?
Dana Phillips.
Okay, Dana Phillips. Are you Hannah?
Hannah Dyer.
Hannah Dyer. Okay, so we're on House Bill 640, and those are the two witnesses on the bill. So why don't you begin?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, members of the committee. My name is Dana Phillips. I'm the Legislative Director for the Department of Budget and Management. Last year, the governor issued an executive order launching the Government Modernization Initiative, a partnership between the Governor's Office of Performance Improvement and DBM. In addition to the cost-saving work, the GMI team jump-started an ongoing effort to identify outdated boards, commissions, and reporting requirements. As a result, House Bill 640 proposes repealing or modifying 20 boards and commissions, 18 mandated reporting requirements. The identification process spanned 2 years and involved extensive agency involvement. Since the introduction of the bill, we have identified 3 additional amendments. With MDH, they also submitted written testimony. The first amendment is for the Maryland Loan Assistance Repayment Program Council, and it just amends the frequency of the report, requiring the report every 3 years rather than every year. The second amendment is for the tax credit for preceptors program, and this just amends the due date. And then lastly, the third amendment is for the Maryland Cannabis Administration, and amends the agency reference, substitutes the Department of Social and Economic Mobility to reflect the transfer of the Office of Social Equity. The department respectfully asks that you all submit a favorable report on this bill, and we're happy to answer any questions. In our written testimony, we have a chart that outlines all of the different changes.
Okay, Ms. Dyer, are you here just for questions?
Yep, Hannah Dyer, Deputy Legislative Officer for the Governor, and I am just here to help with questions.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Senator Washington.
I appreciate you, and thank you. We maybe next year we can look at all the funds, because there's like 180 so funds. So look forward to that. That probably won't come to this committee, but that bill. I do have a question. So one of the removals is the Commission on Trauma-Informed Care, because it's completed its report. But you do actually have some structural changes around the Interagency Council that addresses DHCD and removes some term limits, et cetera. Can you walk us through how the decisions were made and how they were evaluated? And just to let you know, I probably would want to address that. Because it's not simply a commission. But could you walk us through your process and how the decisions were made and evaluated?
Sure. So I guess first, just to clarify, is this the Interagency Council on Homelessness that you're?
Correct.
Okay. So the specific recommendations or proposals in the bill are to amend the Interagency Council to specify the chair and allow reimbursement under certain circumstances, specifically for those members with lived experience.
Right.
And in terms, Dana, do you want to talk about kind of the broader
Sure. In terms of the process, so this originally started in May of 2024. The GMI team reached out to agencies and asked everyone to identify any of the boards, commissions, or councils that they felt like might be duplicative or need to change due dates. And then in July of 2025, the GMI team reached out again to all of the agencies to kind of clarify all of the things that they submitted in 2024. Then they coordinated with agencies to resolve discrepancies, provide additional clarification for the proposed recommendations. During this time, the GMI team also reached out to the 5 largest agencies to communicate with them about recording requirements, all which had about 30 mandated reports, which they reviewed with them.
Do we have commissions that are primarily led by non-agency staff? In other words, the reviewing of the agencies and those types of, but are there commissions that are led by yeah, I guess I just asked it already.
I can get back to you with that information and clarify that.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Senator Carozza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the work on this and kind of putting on a former hat. When I was a Deputy Chief of Staff in Governor Ehrlich's office, we were always trying to see how we could, combine these boards, look, for the redundancy. So this is hard work. What I was trying to figure out from your testimony, the DBM testimony, and then trying to cross-check it against the fiscal note, is there a list that shows the 20, it says House Bill 640 proposes repealing or modifying 20 boards and commissions. And then I was cross-checking that against the fiscal note, and then of those boards and commissions, I don't know how many were either, if they were consolidated, if some of those were Senate confirmation, and then the proposing, I guess, repealing the 18 mandated reporting requirements, which I think we all realize that we can be more efficient in that area. But again, I was trying to see if they're looking at the testimony, the abbreviated testimony, the fiscal note. Is there a list somewhere that you can just eyeball those, or?
At the end of our testimony, we have the recommendations kind of in a chart, but I can also follow up and from our team get you more information on how we put together our information we submitted for the fiscal note.
Okay, so the list that I'm looking at, you have kind of your summary testimony, the DBM, then you have proposed amendments, and then you go to this list regarding boards and commissions, and these would be this is whether you're either repealing or making changes,
yes.
Correct? And can you just talk to me a little bit more about your the process that you use to kind of to reach this list, which again, I'm respectful that this is hard work to do, but just trying to understand kind of that process where you were able to identify those duplications and redundancies.
I can speak to how I handled the process for the Department of Budget and Management. Essentially, when GMI reached out and asked us to kind of identify all of the requirements and all the reports, I reached out to the entire agency with different directors, and I think all of the agencies put together a long list of what it is that we're doing, how often these meetings are happening, what work is being done, any of the sunsets. And I think we compiled all that, shared with GMI, and they were able to look through everything and help the agencies identify if there were redundancies. And again, in the summer of the following year, they were able to sit down and really dig into what things agencies felt like needed to be identified and put into this legislation.
I'm sorry, GMI?
The Government Modernization Initiative.
Okay, so DBM pretty much kind of ran herd on this, being the coordinating agency to get the input from all the departments and agencies across the board.
Yes.
They all came to you, and then you worked through that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll just add that as a final step, the recommendations from the Government Modernization team were also reviewed by the Governor's Legislative Office as well as the Appointments Office to make sure that everything was in sync.
Okay, I appreciate that coordination. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Washington.
So on page 38, you're removing the geographic cost of education index? Is that a commission or an agent? I'm not quite sure.
Just give me a moment.
What that?
So let me find in my chart my notes on this one. Do you have it?
Last one. Yes, it repeals as obsolete.
And we can follow up with additional detail.
Well, I'm just saying, is this a commission or is this I mean, it seems to be a budgetary decision
So this became obsolete following implementation of Blueprint. So I think it was just a loose end that needed to be tied up.
Right, but that's a different, okay, so you don't need to do that. Okay, so are there other things like that? Because this is presented as mandated reports, boards, and commissions, but I think it looks like there are things in here that are not those.
So this is a submission, a report. Submit the proposed updated GCEI adjustment. So it fell under that reports review that we did.
This actually says that the adjustment is updated. So there is a report in section B, but if you read, and again, if I'm missing the word report, help me
So the reason it fell under our reports review is that language in B1, submit the proposed updated GCEI adjustment.
I understand,
which,
but Part A,
yeah.
it doesn't do that. That's the actual adjustment.
So I, again, would be happy to follow
Okay,
up
so
in
we'll
greater
just-
detail
yeah,
on
just
this
get rid of that.
particular item
Okay,
with you.
all right, thank you. We'll go through it. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on this piece of legislation on House Bill 640. Okay, is anybody here for Senate House Bill 648 or, oh, you had a question? Okay, come on back up here, Senator Hester.
I was just looking at the fiscal note, and it appears that you are also removing the Energy Resilience and Efficiency Working Group, which we established under Climate Solutions now. Why?
So let me just try and find.
So I was a member of that group. We did really, really good work. Unfortunately, it ended, you know, the staff either resigned or was let go or whatever, but I mean, that was the one part of Climate Solutions Now that was looking at, you know, energy efficiency working group, and it's, I don't know, if we wanted a one-time report, you know, that's fine, but the other one that's not here was we had a building industry transition working group, and they produced a report, but they never figured out how to fund it. So, which relates to the whole BEPS thing, which is why I've been working with Senator Watson to try to get C funding for BEPS. But like, I don't know. I mean, these aren't just obsolete working groups that are being I mean, these are pieces of legislation that we've passed in recent years that are being repealed. Just.
And if you don't have the answer to the question right now, I mean, you could get back to us as a committee. Okay, these are some, you know, some important questions. So unless you have an answer, or you want to get back to us.
And I'll follow up. I think there were a number, and I'll follow up to make sure this is the case. There are a number of work groups under an energy, a larger committee that were being repealed as fulfilling their statutory objective, but can still be called to do work at the chair's discretion. And so again, I'll follow up. There's a lot in here, and we don't necessarily have all of the details at our fingertips at this moment, so happy to follow up with you to make sure we have that to you.
Okay. Okay, that's going to conclude the bill here on the legislation, and I'm going to, anybody else, who's here on House Bill 648 or 554? Okay, why don't you? 648. Well, let's take 648 first. And you're here on behalf of Chair Corman or the chair or?
Department of Human Services.
Gotcha. Okay, we're going to go House Bill 648 and just tell us who you are, and then you're going to present the bill.
Sure. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee. My name is Rigel Moore, and I serve as the Director of the Office of Home and Energy Programs. I'm joined by my colleague, Erica Chapman, from the Office of Government Affairs within the Department of Human Services. We respectfully urge your favorable report for House Bill 648. We are driven by the 12 Moore Miller administrative values and believe that this bill exemplifies each one. House Bill 648 would streamline access to our energy assistance programs for adults between the ages 60 and 64. Currently, the Office of Home and Energy Programs, known as OHEP, provides a simplified enrollment for energy assistance customers who are age 65 years or older through a uniform redetermination process. Customers who do not qualify for this process reapply for energy assistance every year or may be automatically enrolled if they receive nutritional or cash assistance. The uniform redetermination process reduces paperwork burden and red tape faced by seniors when applying for energy assistance. Currently, qualifying households with members age 65 or older only need to submit one simplified form rather than the standard OHEP application. House Bill 648 would expand the availability of the uniform redetermination process to households with members age 60 to 64. This change would align with Maryland's law with federal guidance on providing energy assistance to vulnerable populations such as members with age 60 or older. The Moore-Miller administration is committed to leaving no one behind, and that includes Maryland seniors. We estimate that more than 1,700 Marylanders would qualify for the uniform redetermination process under House Bill 648. Passage of this legislation will ensure that eligible households with seniors are enrolled and receive energy assistance before peak seasonal demand, preventing dangerous utility shutoffs and helping stabilize energy costs for low-income seniors. We appreciate the opportunity to provide testimony and urge a favorable report, and we welcome your questions.
Okay, thank you. Are you here?
I'm just in support of.
Support?
Yes.
Okay, any questions of our witness on House Bill 648? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on case Senator Washington.
Thank you. So this doesn't extend additional benefits. It's just the administrative process of being able to auto-renew.
That is correct.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, that'll conclude the bill hearing on House Bill 648, which brings us to our final bill. Is anybody here on behalf of the Speaker of the House? House Bill 554. Okay, nobody here on House Bill 554. Legislative Committee renaming and Legislative Policy Committee membership. Okay, that's what that bill does. The title speaks for itself, I think. I don't see the Speaker or anybody from the Speaker's office here. We'll consider that bill heard, and therefore that completes our bill hearings for today. Okay. At 3:30, and then we'll do the work group, the work session on energy legislation that we had, and I told everybody about. Okay, so 3:30, be right back here in the room.